Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? When we were trying to get this podcast off the ground, we had so many questions. How do we record an episode? Where do we find background music? How do we get our show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the other places that people like to listen? And where do we find advertisers? The answer to every one of these questions is really simple. Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, distributing, and monetizing your podcast. And best of all, it's 100% free and 100% ridiculously easy to use. Anchor makes it simple to get up and running. You can upload and schedule your podcasts ahead of time. It publishes to all the major podcast platforms. You can easily check your stats. I could go on, but instead, why don't you go and get started? Go to anchor.fm/start to join the e-commerce minute and a diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. We can't wait to hear your podcast.
It's the E-commerce Minute, your daily dose of e-commerce, tech, and retail news with your hosts, Bart Mraz and John Suter. The E-commerce Minute is a production of Sumo Heavy, a digital commerce consulting firm in Brooklyn, New York, and Philadelphia. Find us on the web at sumoheavy.com. It's E-commerce Minute, episode 268. There's a new form of commerce, and it's called the Shoppable novel. Novelist Riley Costello has created a new way to sell apparel and home goods as her fans read her latest novel. She's even trademarked the process as Shopfiction. The first book, titled Waiting at Hayden's, is a novel that deals with the complicated nature of timing in modern-day relationships and will be the first book that allows readers to shop the characters' outfits, according to a press release. While reading the digital version of the book, or spelled out in the print version, readers are taken to video highlights of key scenes in the novel, as well as shoppable photos of characters in the story wearing clothing or using home goods featured in the story. For the story, Costello primarily features clothing and goods from female entrepreneurs such as Winston White and Van DeVort. Costello would earn affiliate commissions when readers purchase items from the clicked links. Costello has also filmed scenes from the book, which readers can enjoy by visiting her website. These video highlights provide another way for readers to get to know the characters and, in many cases, relive a scene they just read. I was inspired by Reese Witherspoon, who started her own production company in order to let women tell women's stories, Costello explains. I write love stories with strong female characters and decided to use technology to reach and engage readers in a new, exciting, and fun manner. In addition to featuring smaller clothing labels, Costello is excited to expand the Shopfiction platform to other authors whose books would be enhanced through this technology. We're continuing to work on this technology to make this better, faster, and easier for other authors to put their books out in the same way, she said. Down the road, we're trying to make a barcode or improve the technology so it's easier to interact if you have a print book, so you won't have to type in a website.
I kind of like that, actually.
I like it too. And I think there's a lot of ways you can go with this. Mm-hmm. It's interesting that the author, what's her name? Riley Costello. So she writes romance novels. It's really actually the perfect genre for this type of cross-selling, because romance novels, as they are, would be very visual. I could really see this taking off, especially in that genre.
Yeah, absolutely. Although don't do it on Amazon Day. Sorry, that was a little jab. Had to. Yeah, I mean, I think you could sell a lot, right? Like, here's a dress description and already in the book, and you're interested in it, you're deep down to it, you can kind of buy it, right?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's a little clumsy for the print version, and she says they're working on a barcode thing. It's funny because when I read a book, I read a lot of biographies and I read a lot of nonfiction. Okay, so I was reading a biography on Jimmy Buffett, of all people. And they kept referring to all these places in Key West. And I found myself stopping. I said, well, I want to know what this place looks like. So as I'm reading through, I can visualize what this part of Key West looks like.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what this does. This connects the two. Here's my con in this, in that I've said this before. When I read a book, I like to disengage totally from anything electronic. That's why I don't own a Kindle. That's why I would not, I try to keep the two things separate. And I think for somebody like me, I would just wind up, as I said, I'm already having a problem looking things up as I'm reading a book. This would just totally break my spell. But that's just me. I think this has a lot of possibilities.
I'm a big Kindle reader for multiple reasons. I run around city all the time and like traveling and stuff like that. So for me, like, I was just on vacation not long ago and I did disengage. I literally left my phone, but I had my Kindle on me, right? So I like reading on it. But reading on a Kindle, and then I jump on the phone when I'm on the subway or whatever else, I can go between all of them, right? So for me, I don't have to carry a book with me. And I think that is the biggest thing. But I definitely read a lot of nonfiction. And there's definitely times where I'm like, oh, I want to bookmark this to look up later or have a site or things like that. Like you have those moments, right? While reading a book. So it's clumsy a little bit, but I think it's going to take off somewhere.
Yeah. And I see in the article that she's also filmed some scenes. So there's not every author is going to be able to do this. I don't know anything about Riley Costello. Maybe she's a famous author. Maybe she's not. I don't read romance novels, but not every author is going to be able to do this. But every author will have the opportunity if they get on this platform. And apparently she's trademarked it, for an author to get on this platform to earn some affiliate income, especially if it's something that's very visual. I think that's really a big win.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Yeah, it's really great. Okay, pretty cool. So digital reading, great opportunity for cross-channel marketing and selling. Got anything else, Bart?
That is it, sir.
All right. If you want to check out Shopfiction or Riley Costello's website, go on to our website, ecommerceminute.co, for full show notes and previous episodes. That's your e-commerce minute for today. We'll see you on the internet tomorrow. That's it for today's show. If you like the show, do us a favor and subscribe or leave us a review on iTunes. And don't forget, you can now listen to the e-commerce minute on your Amazon device. Just add e-commerce minute to your flash briefing. And finally, if you have a comment or suggestion or just want to say hi, find us on social media @SumoHeavy.